You warthog-faced buffoon.
When you were born, the doctor turned around and slapped your mother?
I fart in your general direction.
Are you trying to give me the double talk?
You scum-sucking pig!
You smoking reefers?
You fool!
Keep an eagle eye out for mayhem and malfeasance.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Brock Lawley program. My name is Brock Lawley. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take an assessment of the political landscape right now, right at this moment. We had Super Saturday, or whatever they're calling it, for elections, you know. It certainly changed the game, didn't it? I mean, Rubio is looking bleak. And I'll go into detail about my mixed feelings about all this. Trump's still holding strong. Kasich, I don't know, what this guy's doing. Kasich, again, I want to just reiterate, a good man. I mean, a lot of nice things to say about Kasich, a phenomenal Ohio governor. I mean, there's just nothing bad I can say about him in that sense. I actually think it's a little bit of a shame that Kasich isn't getting a little bit more of a look. I mean, he's definitely too establishment for me. Like, he's just got too much just Washington on him. But sometimes you got to give some weight to just the guy would hit his knees and be a man of God. There's something to that, and you know where I stand on these things. There's another Achilles heel to Kasich, by the way, and I've heard his name dropped a couple different times in company in the last couple of days, so I wanted to speak on this. Kasich's biggest political problem, I think, is that the guy just wants to be liked too much. And I met these people, I'm sure you have too. They just, at the end of the day, want people to like them. And that's a huge motivating factor. And listen, I'm not saying that's nothing. I mean, I don't think you should walk around, alienating people for absolutely no reason. But specifically in areas of leadership, you can't have that be the wind in your sails. You can't have just, I want everybody to like me. I want all these people to like me. It's just not, it's not good. And I think that's hurt him. I really do. Now, many might say he's trying to cast a big net and he's trying to, be a unifier, if you will. I suppose that's one way to look at it. But I've met the guy a couple times. He actually was in the studio one time. And I just got that impression from him. That a huge motivating factor when he gets up is that everybody is going to like him. Everybody in the room is going to like him. And I think at the end of the day, I learned this in the Air Force, in the military, leaders just have to make peace with the fact that there are going to be people, especially in the moment at least, that just aren't going to like you. They're just not going to like you. But tough things need to be done. Tough decisions need to be done. They might in the long term come to like you, and certainly I think they'll respect you. But anyway, I think that's I think that's an Achilles heel for Kasich, and I think that ultimately is going to keep him from the White House, among many other things. He's in a different race than normal. It's possible that a guy like Kasich really would have done well in previous elections cycles, not this one though. So, what everybody seems to be saying, and look, I'm not in this camp because the pieces on this chessboard have moved so many times, people have been so wrong. I remember just a little while ago, the same people that I just heard in the alphabet soup talking about how it's a two-man race, it's just Cruz and Trump, the same people were saying that same thing about Rubio and Trump, not even, I felt like, a couple sunsets ago. So these things just turn on a dime. These people speak of these things so definitively, and I think that's why they have egg on their face, because they don't know. And if ever there was an unpredictable election cycle, it's this one. But certainly, I mean, what do you got? Cruz has got 7 wins in the bag, 7 W's. That matters. That's not hyperbole. That's not speculation. That matters. And for whatever reason, and I got to admit, it's surprising me a little bit, Rubio can't get traction. I think it's the immigration thing. I think that's the biggest thing that's crushing him. I think his immigration thing just reeks of Washington, and this is the wrong election to have skunk stank of Washington on you. And by the way, it should be a lesson to people. The left is the opposite of the Midas touch. Everything they touch turns to filth. Look, Rubio had a lot of credibility, both with the Tea Party and hard bedrock conservatives. And Rubio got sucked in. He was a sacrificial lamb in this Washington. We're going to come together and we're going to do great things. It's all crap. It's all crap. Nobody means it. Nobody's true to their word. So what happens to the end of the sucker that takes that bait? They end up getting all this filth all over them. That's why even though there's all this talk of coming together and making deals and compromise. That stuff never motivates me at all, because that's not how Washington works. It's not how power works. And you can bet your bottom dollar Marco Rubio regrets all that Gang of 8 nonsense that's hanging around like an albatross around his neck. So I don't know. It's not looking good for him. The electoral map is all over the place. By way of delegates, it's looking pretty gnarly. I mean, clearly Trump has the most direct path. I suppose that's still the case. But with Cruz gobbling up wins, this could get serious. It could get interesting. I think the last election hurt Donald Trump. I think talking about genitalia on national TV tends to do that, at least with the respectable in society. But we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that the Trump train's coming to a halt. By no means am I saying that. But I think he's going to feel a little dip in the polls. We'll see. And again, I've told you this from the jump. By way of politics, if you just look at the pure politics of it, Cruz has my politics. I mean, right down the line. And it's not because he's a conservative, by the way, because I am not motivated or even slightly influenced by this talking point where really dyed-in-the-wool conservatives can't win general elections. That's not true. That's 100% not true. In fact, the more conservative a candidate for the Republican Party, the better chance they have to win. And that's what Democrats fear as well. That's not what makes me think that Cruz would have a hard time in a general. I think Cruz has a very politician-y way about him. And I like him. I love his politics. I think he's a man of fortitude. I think he's a man of character. I think he believes what he says and does what he believes. And I like that, all that stuff about him. His politics are watertight. But he has a delivery, a veneer, an aesthetic that is very, very politic-y. You know, the way he delivers things, the way he speaks. Just got a little too much, cartoon characters from The Simpsons. I don't know, something like that. So, that being said, I think that just comes across bad to a general. And a general that really isn't dictated by policy. It's dictated by how much people like you, how the media will spin things. Now, no matter who the conservative is, they're just going to get slayed. They're just going to get absolutely slayed in the media. That's just a given. That's just the way it is. That's just the world we live in. Democrats will be defended, and Republicans will be crucified in the media. But it doesn't help that it's just a viscerally non-appealing thing for Cruz. It's just something he's got to deal with. It just is. He's not as quick on his feet. He's not as likable. He's just not. Some people are and some people aren't. That's just the reality of life. You got friends in your life. You got circles in society. And you prefer some people's company than others. That's what we're talking about here. We're just talking about human stuff. Marco's the exact opposite. He's charming. He's quick. He's articulate. He's very likable. He casts huge and inspiring vision. But he's tainted. He's not as pure. You just don't know that Marco won't roll over and make deals and so on and so forth. There's no doubt about it that he's the established golden child, and that's not for no reason, by the way. I mean, they think he's going to play ball. What helps Rubio in my mind is I actually believe he's a for real conservative. So even though he has a lot of corporate money and he's got a lot of Washington taint, I think the guy just ideologically truly believes in the tenets of conservative politics and conservative solutions for things. And that's enough for me. And the fact that I think the guy would do way better in a general is appealing. But who knows? Who really knows? Maybe I'm wrong about Cruz in a general. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, Hillary Clinton was literally a robot. I look at the woman, I look for literal metal gears in the back of her body. I look for I am Hillary. Love and care and we will fix. I mean, she is just an odd, strange, cardboard cutout candidate. I think it's crushing her in her primary. I mean, I think that's why Crazy Bernie's doing so good. Look, Bernie Sanders passes the layover test. He just does. Do you want to have a drink for 20 minutes on a layover, plane layover in an airport with a guy? Bernie Sanders passes. He's interesting. He's genuine. He's a character. He's funny. He's relatable. He's out of his mind by way of his politics. 70-some-year-old socialist, it's not funny. It's embarrassing. But we have just a dude. He's got his crazy hair, his cheap, Salvation Army suit. He's just There's just something about the guy that resonates. And I think that's why a 75-year-old socialist is nipping at her heels in a primary. Now, she's going to smoke him, and if she doesn't smoke him, for whatever reason, if Bernie starts collecting the African-American minority vote and he starts climbing, they'll just Agent Orange his butt. The Democratic Party will just, scorched earth, the superdelegate, the whole thing's rigged. But it does speak to the claymation, robot, George Jetson character that Hillary Clinton is. She's just corrupt. She's so ice. She's got like an ice cube heart. It's just obvious. It's just obvious. It's obvious even to her own base. I don't know that that's going to exactly resonate in a general, but she'll have the media, right? She's just going to have the media carrying buckets and buckets and gallons, swimming pools of water for her, and that matters. That greatly matters. So we're in the home stretch here. You know what? One of for the political wonky among you, from here on out, we start talking about winner takes all. That's going to matter, right? That's going to somebody start racking up some of these winner takes all states. It's going to, the hammer will get dropped real quick. I think the smart money's still on Trump, but who knows? Literally, who knows? I find it deeply depressing that there's real talk among the Democrats of a brokered convention, which when you hear that, what you should hear is establishment power grabbers and goons are going to totally give the middle finger to the voter. Now, one might say, if you're paying attention to politics in the last, 8 years, the Democrat Party is very comfortable and very used to giving the base, the conservative voter, the middle finger. I mean, it does that really well. Does it fight totalitarianism? No. Does it fight despot, huge power grabs by a renegade, constitutionalist, lawless president? No. Does it push conservative principles? No. Does it stand for anything? No. Does it have any fortitude or backbone? No. Does it have any values that mean anything to the party? No. But it's awfully good and committed to giving the middle finger to its base. And the fact that the base is like, you guys are horrible, we're going to vote for Donald Trump because that's how much we hate you. And just think about that for a second. That is a fiery red inferno of hate. Yeah, we hate you so much we're gonna vote for this wild card Donald Trump, this firecracker dynamite stick of Donald Trump. And the party still wants to give the middle finger to the voters. It's a remarkable thing to see. It's stubbornness that you don't usually see unless you're like a Thanksgiving dinner with your great grandfather, and he's like, I don't like them minorities. I don't care what nobody says. And all the young people, they're horrible, and I want my overalls, my skull, and give me some of them Lucky Strike cigarettes. I'm not changing for nobody. I don't care what the doctor says. I'm stubborn. I'm old man stubborn. That's what I is. Except for that, you don't see stubbornness. Outside of that, the GOP takes the cake for stubbornness. No learning mechanism, no self-correction mechanism, no ability to recognize that the base has completely left them, abandoned them. Nope, they're planting two stubborn heels in the dirt. And it's their way or no way. It's just a remarkable thing to see. The party will implode. It's their own fault. And nobody's crying any crocodile tears about this. I'm not. That's for sure. People are always like, this is going to be the end of the Republican Party. It's just going to destroy the party. What party? What party? Come on. Seriously. What party? You know what I mean? Do you remember that old Canadian arena football thing that they tried to bring to the United States? I think Bon Jovi owned one of the teams. It was like weird football for the recruits that didn't make the NFL. Do you guys remember this? It'd be like if somebody was on TV and being like, that's been long since went the way of the buffalo, right? The American people didn't want to watch football in like the spring or whatever. So it'd be like somebody being like, it's going to be the end of American arena football. There is no arena football. There is no Republican Party. If you have no values and you don't stand up against big government, leftist, bureaucratic hell, and you basically don't stand up for anything, and you get election win after election win, and you do nothing. You sign huge sweeping blank check budgets. You do nothing. You let Planned Parenthood, who's on film butchering children, no consequences. In fact, the guy making the video is now going to prison. You're useless. You're not a party. So all this crocodile tears about this stuff means nothing to me. I mean, if that entire party implodes, it doesn't matter. Whatever emerges from it will be way more useful to anybody with my politics and my worldview than what that is. I don't think I've allowed any gray area in my feelings on that. And the Democratic Party has just become evil. I mean, just full-on evil. It's ironic because if you talk to the average know-nothing, like the guy who's just playing Xbox 360 and knows nothing about nothing, but he watches entertainment TV or something in between his porn, he's going to be like, Democrats care about people and giving you money, and they're the good people. But what the guy doesn't know is the Democrat Party is just full-on unadulterated evil. The Republican Party is incompetent and useless and stupid. And the Democratic Party is just evil. I mean, right down the line, just anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish, horribly racist if you care about actual racism. And what I mean by that is dividing people up by the skin color, dividing people by way of race, class, and gender. It's an evil thing to do. It's an evil thing to do to divide people out of fear just so you can gain political power. It's an evil thing to do. Their foreign policy is evil. They've crawled in bed with Cuba and Iran. They're evil. They align with evil. They side with evil. They empower and enable evil. They become an evil party. So here's my solution. You want to hear my solution? I'll leave you with this, my dear listener. Because it's bleak out there. I'm not going to lie to you. You come here for the truth. It's bleak. This is what helps us. This is what saves us. Revival. Character change. Morality. If somehow this nation, by the grace of God, decides to turn from this insanity, repent, return to the heartbeat of the nation, the principles of the nation, we'll thrive. We'll be an amazing nation that heals wounds and inspires people, inspires nations, leads the world, like the city of the hill that we're called to be. But outside of that, it's just not looking good. It's just not looking good. And that's pretty much the case no matter who we vote for. Now, I have preferences. I'm not going to lie. I have preferences. But that's the truth, guys. That's the silver bullet. That is the silver bullet. Pray for that. Move that forward in your personal lives. Move that forward in the minds and the hearts of the people that are in your sphere of influence, because that's the most important thing you can do. Be people of character, fortitude, and courage.
Long live the new media. CollegeCountry.net